What's up, meatbags? It's the often imitated, never duplicated Tony TGD coming at you with another Gabbing with Geeks. I am joined once again by my man, Blinded Braille. What's up, Blinded?
What's up, everybody?
Days Gaming down there in the lower left. What's up, Days?
Howdy.
And of course, Gary, the obsessive compulsive gamer. What's up, Gary?
What's going on, fellas?
So we got a big show for you tonight. We're going to be talking Intellivision Amico, new Doom 2 levels, Indiana Jones 5, Crunchyroll absorbing Funimation, Pokemon Day 2022. Blinded Braille is going to tell us his thoughts on the Batman. We're going to be talking Steam Deck drift issues and Kirby and the Forgotten Land demo. But before we get to all that, we want to hear how these gentlemen's weeks have been. Blinded, how was your week?
I'm busy just with school and stuff, so it's kind of taking a damper. Like, I'm kind of just drained.
To be young and in school again.
It sucks.
That it does. I've never studied when I was in school. I always just did the work, late, did the finals, the midterms.
I wish I could do that. I have paranoia about that, so that's why. But I would totally do that.
Cheated.
I've done that a couple of times, but
we do not endorse cheating on this show. But I will say, I have been paid plenty times to write papers for people, and so
I should do that, but I don't want to get caught.
Well, one time I actually wrote 6 papers for the same class, and everyone got a B.
Everyone got a B.
That's crazy.
How was your week, Dazed?
Oh, my week was fine. Just been working. Haven't really gotten a chance to play any games or do much. It's just been kind of just a whatever week. But I tell you what, the weather, like today, was up in the 60s around here, which is pretty incredible. So I'm feeling, if tomorrow is warm enough, I might go out in the hammock and try to shoot a video, because I think it might be warm enough. And so that's going to be my highlight of my weekend. But yeah, other than that, no, it's been pretty chill.
Except for that little bit of time when you were kind of upset at Turbo Joe.
Oh, I wasn't really upset with him. I just was. I was just couldn't help but I just had to make a reaction video, because it was just, he's just such a nut job, and I don't know.
Oh, you hater!
It was too good for me not to do it. So yeah, that was fun.
Gary, how has your week been?
Oh, really good. So, like Dave said, I'm just northeast of Dazed, and today and the last couple of days have been beautiful over here. So enjoying the weather, busy watching the kids, and then recently, last like 3 days, I've been just hard at work, pounding away at the old pixel art and animating and all that good stuff. So keeping myself busy with that while watching the kids.
Sounds fantastic. My week has been fantastic. So great. I actually ordered a new desktop computer. It was supposed to arrive one day before my birthday, but it's here already. We're streaming on the brand new PC. So fantastic.
Wow.
Beyond that, I've done nothing. I was going to make a bunch of videos and have them all scheduled, but I was like, hey, I got the new PC coming. I'll wait, get them all nice and fancy with the new PC. So we're probably going to do that tomorrow. Hopefully Gary's available so we can make a couple videos and knock some things out.
That sounds good.
Now, real quick, I wanted to kind of address some things here. We got a Cuphead show. I don't know if anybody's watched that on Netflix, but it's already been renewed for a season 2. So if you were interested in the show, if you've been watching it, just be aware that it is getting a season 2 already.
Have any of y'all watched it?
No,
I-
unfortunately, I don't have. Well, we're kind of skimming off the school's internet since the kids been doing virtual learning and whatnot, but we don't have regular internet. And at the time, it's been a while since I've had Netflix, but I hear good things about Cuphead.
It looks good. I mean, I saw a trailer for it. It does look really good. I mean, that art style, that 1920s, 30s stuff. It looks pretty sweet.
Yeah, it definitely looks good. I've never played the game, so I should probably play the game first.
It's fun.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the physical release, and they did, say they were gonna drop a physical after the final DLC came out. So
Oh, really?
I'm looking forward to getting my hands on that for the Switch here eventually, because I don't know, it's been out for what, like 2 years now, 3 years. It's been out for a
At
while.
least.
Yeah, almost 5, I think. Came out
Really?
17.
Ooh, damn. Yeah, so it's been out for a long time. I've been itching to play it, so hopefully they get that physical version out by the end of the year.
It's fun, but it's freaking it's NES hard. It's a tough game. But you do have you don't have the whole thing where it's like 3 lives, you're dead, start back over at the beginning. So, but the stages are pretty challenging, but it's good.
Yeah, I think I might end up watching this show, reviewing it, talking about it more. But for right now, that's really the only news on the Cuphead show. But we got a few rumors. This right here comes courtesy of xfire.com. Exclusive Quantic Dreams struggles to hire for Star Wars Eclipse. Released aim for 2027. If you remember, in 2021, we had a trailer for a new Star Wars game from Quantic Dreams, Star Wars Eclipse. Everybody was going nuts over it. It looked fantastic. But apparently, they can't hire nobody at the company to actually work on the game. So we might not have it for another 5 years.
Yeah. I saw something in that article that said something too, like that
Whoops.
that the work environment or something, that it's kind of like sort of toxic or something. I think it said in the article.
Yeah,
Like
there's
it's kind
been like
toxic work
rumors about the one of the directors. I guess it's the reason why they split with Sony, because like Quantic Dreams usually, like, they were about to get bought out by Sony, but then David Cage had some controversies and Sony kind of backed away, and so I
Right.
guess this is the reason. Yeah, it kind of sucks though, but
Yeah, what's the point of buying a studio if the work environment's toxic and you got to fire people? Then you're just really buying the name.
Yeah, you're
you
just
gotta
buying the
hire a
name.
bunch. Right, you got to hire a bunch of new people or reallocate, some people to work in that studio. So it doesn't look good, but it's kind of weird that they would announce that project so early.
Yeah, I think it was because they wanted to get support from developers, right? Like, hey, we're
Exactly.
making the Star Wars game and come, get hired so you could help us. But yeah, it was kind of a mess.
Yeah, apparently
It
they
touches
got
on that in the
67
article, how more and more people are doing that. Games are coming out super early because there's like such a competition for getting like the top tier devs and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's going to be happening more.
Apparently, there's 67 job openings in France for the game.
Wow.
So they might have a long road ahead of them if they don't get nobody soon. So keep your eyes on that if you were looking forward to that game. Another rumor, courtesy of MovieWeb, is Marvel is reportedly bringing Man-Thing to Disney Plus for Halloween special.
This is interesting because he wasn't in. So right now the Disney this Disney Plus series is shooting. It's supposed to be based on what's the character? Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
And it's and I think there's like a Spanish actor who's playing him, who was in Old, like the most recent Shyamalan movie. So I mean, it's pretty interesting. It seems like it's just going to be like a kind of like a TV movie, so to speak, and it's going to come out this year. And I mean, to have Man Thing, like Man Thing has been a character that, like, he did get a movie, but like the movie was, you know, it wasn't popular. People don't know about it.
Sci-Fi Channel or something.
Yeah, and so it's, I mean, he's an interesting character, but I do prefer Swamp Thing over Man Thing, just because Swamp Thing is more interesting character. So I mean, hopefully this means like more attention, and maybe like more comics about him. I think that would be really cool to flesh out the character a little bit.
Yeah, interesting enough, the Man Thing movie is technically canon to the MCU because Man Thing was mentioned in the first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They mentioned Man Thing and talked about the movie events from the movie.
That's interesting.
But as we know, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has sort of become non-canon. It's hard to tell. Like maybe the first season is canon still, and
I think some elements are going to be canon because we did see Jarvis in Endgame, and he was in he was in Agent Carter, which is supposed to be connected with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So I think they'll pick and choose like what they're doing with the Netflix series. That's what I predict.
Yeah, so I am interested in this whole Man Thing movie. He is a interesting character. Both him and Swamp Thing have very similar origins, very similar backstories. So it'll be interesting.
I looked it up. It was like actually Man Thing came out like literally right before Swamp Thing came out. Like they came out around the same time, but Man Thing beat it.
Yeah,
by just a little bit.
I still think Swamp Thing is the more interesting character, just because Alan Moore fleshed him out better. Yeah. So you know, is what it is. But they're two cool characters.
Yeah, and both of those characters actually, there's a previous character from the comics.
That is true. The Man Thing is in Thor Ragnarok. There's a reference to him at the Champions, so you could see on a building, you could see Beta Ray Bill, another character, and then Man Thing. So he has been referenced in the movies at least. So that's reassuring, I guess.
Yeah, and then like I was saying, there is a character called the Heap, I believe it's name, where basically he's a hero character from an obscure comic that apparently Swamp Thing and Man Thing both ripped off. But other than that, I got nothing else to say about Man Thing. So we're going to turn our attention now to some interesting Intellivision Amico news. Gentlemen, I don't know if you're aware of this, but I put in my cancellation for my pre-order earlier this week, and I've heard nothing from Intellivision.
They took the money and ran.
It does seem like that. Not only have I not heard anything, and I've contacted 3 different Intellivision emails, but other people are reporting as far back as Monday of this week, putting in their request for a refund and hearing nothing back from the company. So what do you think about this? Does this not bode well for the company? Do we think that they've closed up shop, the lights are off, doors are locked? What do you think's going on?
I mean, I definitely want to give them some time before I really jump down anybody's throat. But, seeing the response that the Pro Amico side has had, that they've been telling people that you get your money back. Well, if this time next week you still don't have money, Tony, and a lot of other people are still waiting for refunds, being that it might be, that'll be about a week for you, a little over a week for you, might be 2 weeks for others. I'd be very upset. I mean, hearing talk that you could just easily get your $100 back, and people aren't getting those refunds. It's just more of the same. Even what I said last week, it's just disgusting behavior. It just blows my mind that people are acting like this is not a big thing. You got others, cursing and throwing middle fingers up to people, saying that it's still coming out, yet some people are having problems getting the refunds. It's just disgusting behavior.
Yeah, that's kind of scary. They're already doing that, because I mean the Start Engine campaign was such a failure, and everything has just been negative, and then to come out with the announcement was just like a complete non-announcement. I just wonder how many people are jumping ship and hitting him. I mean, it's like they may not be able to hardly afford to just start giving back all of these refunds. Like, they might have to slow it down or something. I don't know.
Right. It really boils down to how much money they have left.
Yeah.
And we've already seen, like, we're at the point now where, the guys like Brett Weiss are asking for refunds. So some, I wouldn't say all of the Pro Amico guys out there are asking for refunds, but they're, if someone like Brett Weiss is asking for his refund, there are quite a bit of guys who are jumping ship. And I believe he did say he got his refund back. I don't know if he actually confirmed his refund or whether or not they just sent him an email. Now, that seems to be your problem, right, Tony? Is that they haven't even sent you an email at this point, which is concerning in itself.
They have not confirmed that they received my emails asking for the refund. And I know that there's some people that have sent emails looking to get Founders Editions, and those have been answered, and they've been put on the list for Founders Editions, bumped up. So there is people working there, at least to take your money. Not so much to give you your money, apparently.
That is, like I said, sad.
Yeah, it is. And like I said, I really want to give them, some time. Maybe by Monday or Wednesday next week, they can have it all sorted out. I'm sure, a good number of people have probably canceled their pre-order, but you should see something either, I know you said you paid by PayPal, and I'm not sure if there's like a way to check whether that's, what's the word I'm looking for? Whether it's lingering around. But if you can, some people should be able to, call their bank and see if it's pending. If it's pending, so hopefully in a few days after it's pending, you get your money back. But if this is not sorted out by at least by Friday of next or Saturday of next week, then something really is, you got to start scratching your head and wondering what's really going on, whether or not you'll see that $100, because it just doesn't look good.
Well, the fact that they're not even sending out emails. I mean, how hard is it to do an email?
They can't keep up, I guess.
Well, there's only 6,000 pre-orders, so
right.
I mean, I don't know.
6,000 refunds.
And really, it's got to be, the email that they're going to send out has got to be the same email that they send all, 1,000 or 2,000 canceled pre-orders. So it really wouldn't take much effort. It might take you a day or two to get through those. So like I said, after about a week's worth of time, 2 weeks worth of time, I'd really start worrying about that. because it shouldn't take any longer than that. Any respectable business would have your, payment refunded at least within, 3 to 5 days. So I will give them that grace period.
We will see. We will see. Really, beyond that, there hasn't been any real news since the last time we spoke. We've gone over the announcement, the potential for a takeover. So there's really not much else to talk about at this time. You guys got any other Amico information?
No, not really. Just more of the
really.
same, like you said. Yeah, there's not much out there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just little tidbits here and there.
With that said, we shall move on. There's a new Doom 2 level. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but John Romero, he released a new level for Doom 2 to raise money for the Ukraine. It's about $7. You can get it on his website. All the money goes straight to the Ukraine. He's not taking any cut. So it's, 100% going to the people of Ukraine. And I believe it's been like 15 years since he's made a level for the game.
Yeah, something like that. It had been a while. I think it was even longer than that. I thought I read that it was like 1994 or something that it had been. I could be wrong, but I thought that's what I saw that from John Romero himself.
Well, 94 is when Doom came out, ain't it?
Yeah.
Was it? Where did I see that? I swear. Hold on, I'm gonna Google it.
It says it's the first new level for the game in 28 years.
So that's, yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah, I was right.
So he didn't. So when the game released was the last time he.
I was playing it. I know I was playing it in high school, like early high school, and I graduated in '96. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure I was playing it in maybe 9th grade, 8th or 9th grade, or 10th grade. I don't remember, but it was early.
Well, Doom fans rejoice. I mean, Doom's a great game. Don't get me wrong. It's just, it was never, even back when it was released, I remember playing it on like Super Nintendo and stuff. I was never a huge Doom fan, just because when I was a kid, when I was younger, it was super difficult, and not difficult to like. It was more along the lines of difficult to understand what you were doing. And I think it was one of those games that, to me at least, it was like it was kind of new, right? It was like fresh. It's like, I mean, I think Wolfenstein was before Doom, right? And I might have played a little bit of that on my buddy's PC, but it was a game that like, it was like, what do you do, right? I was so used to like platformers, 2D games. It was just something that I was never really used to, and it never stuck with me. I have an appreciation for Doom now, but I was never a huge Doom fan.
You might be shocked to know that I've never played a Doom game in my life.
What? That's crazy.
It is. I never had a PC growing up, so I didn't play any. I didn't play Quake. I've never played Quake.
That's a good one too.
Yeah.
Y'all are missing out, man, because I love that game. To me, was that and Duke Nukem 3D, and I played all those, man. Like I think it's pretty good. I think this is kind of a big deal that they're doing that. I mean, but
it's definitely a huge deal.
But yeah, but if you weren't really into the game, then maybe it wouldn't. But I don't know. It was just totally unique and different. Just because that was really my first arrival into having, playing on a computer. I had a really good friend whose dad was super into computers, and they would always like give me floppy disks with these games on them and stuff, and I could play them. And it was a totally different experience playing on your computer versus playing on your console, because at the time, like, computers were, they were, I guess,
not everybody had one.
No, it was kind of, they were still kind of similar, I think. Like, PC is obviously like kind of pushed away from uh better than consoles, but I mean, I don't know. I really dug it. I had a great time with it.
Yeah, never played it, never got into it, never played it after I got a PC, never played the ports. I think the first FPS game that I've ever played was Medal of Honor.
Wow.
Was that for like PlayStation?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
But I
even
know,
then. All right, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I know there's a lot of people that love Doom, love Doom 2. So hopefully we get a lot of people buying this to support the people in Ukraine. We're not going to get
Absolutely.
political, but those people need some help.
They definitely do.
Mm-hmm.
Any last words on that before we move on, gentlemen?
No, but if you're gonna play the games, go play Doom 2. It's just a better version of Doom. Like, Doom is good, but if you're gonna play it, you might as well start with Doom 2.
I always felt
It's
they were
just-
so similar. They're so similar. They're both
They
good.
are, but I don't know. I just think it's a better polished game. The level design is better in Doom 2. I don't know. I think
Yeah.
I like
yeah.
Wolfenstein better.
really Wolfenstein is awesome, but it's just the levels are so repetitive.
Yeah,
It's my only gripe with
yeah,
that
it's
game. But
pretty
it
much
was
the
so
same.
primitive. It was primitive, I mean, it was
right.
So a lot of cool secrets though in that game. That was the best part about Wolfenstein, was finding the secrets.
All right. Moving on. We're going to talk about Indiana Jones 5. They just wrapped up 15, almost 14 years after Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. We're getting a new Indiana Jones movie. Just wrapped it up. Gentlemen, what are your initial thoughts on this?
My initial thoughts is nearly 14 years. That's insane. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
14 years since that movie. So that blows my mind. But I was kind of in the dark. I didn't realize. Maybe I've been living under a rock. I didn't realize they were doing a fifth movie. In fact, I don't know if you guys heard like the speculation and rumors that they were always going to do like the pre sequels or a younger Indiana Jones. I kind of wish they would have went that route, but it's great to have Harrison Ford back in the role, even if he is a dinosaur. I still love him.
I think they still might do that. There was like a rumor about like a Disney Plus show or something, but like it was very faint, so I'm not sure about it.
The young Indiana Jones Chronicles, like, is it that like kind of a thing? Or
Well, I would hope that they do
Something
something
like
kind of something in between that and like the first time we see him. So
the Raiders, yeah.
right. So
I mean, this movie though, I'm excited about just because I mean it's not Spielberg, which I know a lot of people are disappointed, but
Yeah.
after Indiana Jones 4, like, and recently I feel like Spielberg is kind of off his game, so I feel like why not bring in someone that's a little bit fresh? And they got James Mangold, the guy who did Logan, and so he's a really good director. I really liked Ford v Ferrari. That was a great movie. So just in general, I think there's a lot of potential with this movie. I know that a lot of people are kind of concerned that he might pass off the mantle. But I mean, we'll have to see. I still think this movie is going to be really good, like well directed, and the story, from what I heard, is interesting. I won't like spoil it too much, but it seems like it involves time travel. So that's I know a lot of people kind of get a little concerned about time travel movies just because of like the logic behind it, but I think we'll have to see. I really miss Indiana Jones. Like I used to watch all of these movies as a kid. Like I really love the
Yeah.
second one. I don't know why. I know a lot of people hate it, but
No.
like I love the second one. So
Temple of Doom rules, man. I love it. It's
Yeah.
like a complete outlier on the other movies. It's like it's its own little thing. Like
Yeah.
Temple of Doom is underrated.
mhm. Yeah, I
The
agree.
Last Crusade was always my favorite. We
Yeah,
had
it's
that
the
on
best.
VHS.
I love the Last Crusade is amazing with Sean Connery as his dad. Like June, yeah,
Yeah, the
Yeah,
jokes in that movie are fantastic.
yeah.
I used to hate Temple of Doom until I saw Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls, and I was like, "Oh my god, Temple of Doom is so good." I am shocked that this is actually Indiana Jones 5, and that they're going to keep Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls canon, because that movie was terrible, horrible.
Oh, it's not that bad. I
You know
liked it.
what?
I
The
loved it.
first half of the movie, right, is okay. It's a decent movie. Once the aliens come into it, it just goes off the rails. Spoiler alert for a 14-year-old movie, but
I know the biggest part that pissed everybody off was him getting launched in that fridge.
in a
I
nuclear
know.
fridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind
Yeah.
of a stupid beginning. And then the part I was we were talking about it earlier, the part where the Shia LaBeouf is swinging through the branches with all those monkeys, like that's really kind of cringe.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of those ideas were George Lucas, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, he's not involved at all with this movie, so I mean, it's going to
Was
be
it
interesting. So,
was it just the scene itself? Was it the execution? Was it the CGI? What is it that pisses people off about that scene? Because while it's not
Because
the
it seems
best,
so unbelievable.
yeah.
eh,
It,
but it was.
it's
I
so
don't
George
know.
Lucas. It's just really stupid and silly. Like you could tell that it was his idea, that he came up with it, and then they just like put it together in the script, but it just doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, Indiana Jones was a really grounded type of franchise. Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls is just way out there. Aliens and
Hmm.
all kind of weird stuff. If
I-
uh, it was up to me, I would just delete that from the canon, pretend like it didn't happen. Hopefully, this time travel stuff that Blinded hinted at will erase Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls.
See, and I don't understand that take that it's out there. All the three movies that preceded it were out there. I mean, you got the goblet or the chalice or whatever the hell you want to call it, the Holy Grail,
The Holy
and then the
Grail.
guy drinks from it and he just like disintegrates. He dies.
Yeah.
I mean, the movie's based on kind of just that campiness, and I don't know. I thought it
I
was fine.
I think it's the balance, though. Like, you know what I mean? Especially with the first movie, there was this. It was grounded, but it also was kind of out there. But it was kind of building up to that craziness, right?
Yeah.
So that's why it's like, yeah, right. So you kind of don't want to. You want to ground, everybody throughout the movie, and then get to the weirdness when people are like, kind of like, okay, what's gonna happen? Which the Crystal Skull just didn't do. It was just kind of like wacky shenanigans was happening throughout the entire movie, and it's just like, it kind of throws off the tone and what how the other movies are structured. So
Yeah, and you got to remember the Ark of the Covenant. It works exactly as described in the Bible. It's not like they created something new. It is a holy object that's supposed to like melt people's faces off and stuff. That's like the thing. Same thing with the Holy Grail. The guy didn't disintegrate from drinking from it, Gary. If you watch the movie, he drank from the wrong.
That you know what I'm talking about. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know what it is. But hold on. I thought
He
the
chose
aliens were
poorly. Remember? That's
yes.
the whole thing.
Yes. I thought that I thought the aliens were based on like something from like Babylon or some bullshit like that. Wasn't it based on some kind of like
No, there is real crystal skulls. There's a real thing. Like there's a theory that there were
yes,
these crystal skulls that because like it's crystal. I guess what it is or whatever what is the substance that it's made from? Not crystal,
I'm
but
not sure.
quartz.
I'm not sure.
I think it's made from quartz, and it's known that you can store tons of data on quartz. Apparently, so that's what they think that these skulls. The theory is if you bring the however many there were, I don't know if it was 13 or however many, if you bring them together, something is supposed to activate, and we're supposed to get like all this information. Like it's like a recorded history of the universe, like contained within these skulls. That's the theory. And there have been some skulls that pop up, and some of them have been proven to be frauds. But then some of these other ones, they can't really explain the nature of them. So I kind of thought the idea was cool, but the execution was kind of poor.
Well, here's the thing: the crystal skulls have always been human-shaped skulls.
Yeah, and they were weird. They were pointed. Yeah, I didn't like that either, man, at all.
Yeah. So either way, hopefully this movie redeems Indiana. It is supposed to be the last, the conclusion of the iconic journey for the character. I would like to see Harrison Ford move into sort of a mentor role, like an older, like Sean Connery's character in Part 3. He's like still around, but not the main focus. But we'll see. The rumor is that they're going to be a female Indiana Jones in the next movie. How do we feel about that, gentlemen?
If it's done in a way, like I was saying earlier, like I think if it's done in a way where it's correct and they kind of like honor the way that Indiana Jones is, he's not like overpowered. He has his flaws. I mean, he doesn't defeat every enemy easily. Like the guy that always comes to mind from Raiders of the Lost Ark, the big dude, the bald dude, like he beats the crap out of one smaller guy pretty easily on that plane. Like the plane is moving around, and he ends up only being able to defeat the big guy because he like knocked him into a propeller and it like chopped his head up. So as long as they make it to where the female isn't like so overpowered, kind of like where I had kind of a problem with Rey in Star Wars, like how she defeated Kylo Ren the first time they fought without ever having been trained. Like if they don't follow that kind of logic, I can deal with it. But if it's going to be like girl power and she's like quote unquote a Mary Sue, then I'm out. I don't want any part of that.
Well, all I know is if there's going to be a female with a whip, she got to wear some leather.
I don't know. I have a feeling that I'm not big on the passing of the torch. Like how did you guys feel about like the Falcon taking the like Captain America's spot?
Yeah, it was done fine.
Yeah, I didn't have too big of a problem.
But I mean, would that be something that you would want to watch like another series of, and then over and over again? Like, I don't mind them trying to like pass the torch to somebody, but in my opinion, there will only be one Indiana. You know what I mean? Right?
Yeah, that's my concern. Yeah, because it's not like Captain America and Falcon, right? Like Falcon has some established lore. This is a new character that we don't know, right? So you're gonna have to go off of the reaction from this movie, right? So I don't know. I would have to see. To be honest, I would rather prefer like a prequel series with the character exploring mysteries and stuff like that. Just because, like, I mean, I'm like, it's Indiana Jones, right? Like, Disney has other series, like they're trying to make the what's that Nicolas Cage movie?
National Treasure?
Yeah. Like they're trying to make, a third one of that. So they already have like a series that is very similar, right? And I know that they're actually casting like a female protagonist in the that I blanking on the name again.
National Treasure.
National Treasure. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's just so generic. Like, but anyway, right? Like, yeah. So I don't know. Like, I'm not opposed to it, but at the same time, like, just do Indiana Jones. You know what I mean? Or even recast. I don't mind if it's a recast.
Yeah.
Right. Well, maybe even if they tried to reboot it and go a different way with it. But here's the thing that I have a problem with it. Are they going to try to slap the Indiana Jones name on it and then just try to sell it? And that'll be the big issue, right?
Most
how
likely.
else would they have to, right? Because how are you going to connect the two? They're going to obviously want to keep that brand going, so that name will be there. But unfortunately, you're going to have somebody in the, trying to fill another person's shoes. In this case, Harrison Ford, and I just leave it alone. I'm with you. I really think they should go back to a time when he was younger and then explore that. Otherwise, I don't have a problem with like the gender swapping or passing the
If
torch
it's
to a
done
woman.
right, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fine, but I still think at the end of the day, even if it's good, I will still have my my dislikes about it just because it's not Indiana Jones, it's not Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
The conclusion is it's coming. It's going to be over. That's it. I don't know. I don't like change. I hate change.
That's the thing. I mean, we live in an era where it's just kind of becoming common where you do like the gender swap thing, and I get tired of getting angry about that, because I want to enjoy these series. I don't want to just be like a stodgy old man, like, oh, it's just not Indiana Jones, but if it's done in a way that is respectful to the series, and then I'll watch if it's done right. But yeah, I agree. I would definitely like to see something that was more like a going back instead of going forward. So
Personally, I think this series should just end. You can't really do an Indiana Jones in the modern age, you know. So they're going to run out of things for them to really look into. I mean, how many secret temples are left out there? How many unexplored areas?
There's a lot, but there's a lot of interesting stuff. But
I
yeah,
don't
I
know.
agree with that though. Like modern Indiana Jones it just feels so derivative. Like, you know what I mean? Because we already have Uncharted and Tomb Raider. Like those are all in the modern era. Like Indiana Jones was supposed to be a time period piece, right? So yeah, I agree with that.
well,
Tony,
the
you
thing
must have
is
Tony, you must have been too old for Legends of the Hidden Temple back on Nickelodeon.
Olmec. I watched that. I'm not too old for that.
Didn't they just
The
revive that not too long ago?
Yeah, I think it failed
did.
miserably.
It did.
Yeah, but
The
even
thing
that
with
series was set like Indiana Jones times. Like, I can't see like people with like modern equipment going into some ancient temple and like we don't know what's going on and blah blah blah. It's like just feels wrong. Feels weird.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
the thing with Indiana Jones now is the fact that Disney owns it, so they're sitting on this IP. So they're going to freaking pump them out. Like I agree. Like it probably could go away, but they paid $4 billion for the Star Wars, and the Indiana Jones was part of it. So they're going to try at least to see if they can get something to stick, because it's just they want to make money, but so they might end up bleeding it dry and making it to the point where we just don't even care anymore.
Does
Yep.
do they still have the Indiana Indiana Jones stunt show over at Hollywood
Disney.
Studios, which
That thing is incredible. That thing was awesome.
Yeah.
that was always
Yeah, I
my
remember
favorite. As long as they don't change that, I could see them like here soon. They're going to do like a refresh for that, and then end up changing it to the more modern style. As long as they keep stuff intact. I know I like Dave said, I don't want to be like the old man boomer. Don't want to see anything change. But I think some things were meant to be the way they should be. They should never be
Yeah.
changed. Shouldn't be lost to time.
Absolutely.
I'd prefer a reboot or a recast,
Right.
and like you said, do some stories in between, some adventures that we haven't heard about yet, but not continue on as far as time marching forward. But that's just my take. Let me know in the comments what you think should happen to Indiana Jones. But we're gonna move on to some interesting anime news. Crunchyroll is going to be absorbing Funimation. So, if you're unaware, the two big anime streaming services were Crunchyroll and Funimation. Sony owned Funimation, and it's going to merge the two of them into one. So you're going to end up having all your content on Crunchyroll. Funimation is going to go away. However, the staff of Funimation is not going away. So all the terrible dubs, all the changes to the anime that you might not like, it's going to stick around. So be aware of that. And it might actually have a adverse effect on Crunchyroll going forward. So what do you gentlemen think about this? You guys are big anime fans like me, or?
For the most part, obviously, I'm a big DBZ fan, and I know you guys were kind of making fun of me and saying that Crunchyroll being on the put on the Switch, last week, or what was it, a couple weeks ago, wasn't that big of a deal, but it looks like it's a much bigger deal now. I mean, this deal hadn't gone through then, right? I mean, when they first put that on the Switch, all that content wasn't available then, right?
No.
So yeah, I think that's a pretty good move.
I'm wondering if this is actually going to lead to some sort of monopoly on dubbed anime or anime in the West. Because, like I said, this was two of the biggest platforms for watching Japanese animation, and now they're going to be on one combined service. Sony, who has a weird love-hate relationship with anime and Japanese waifus, if you will. It's going to be weird with them in control of this. I don't know if I'm too thrilled by this move.
You think they'll start, stop putting things on like Blu-ray and DVD, and then just make you pay one kind of fee? Well, what's the price? What's the service plans for Crunchyroll?
Crunchyroll's pricing of ad-free subscription plans remains unchanged so far. $7.99 a month for the fan tier, $9.99 a month for the mega fan, and $14.99 for the ultimate fan. I don't know what the difference is between those, but
yeah, that's not so bad. It's like your average subscription, right? That's about what like a Netflix is. I could probably see that maybe going up. I mean, it has to, right? I mean, if they're, like you said, they're somewhat holding a monopoly now on the content that you can watch. I would expect those prices to go up a bit. But I mean, it is what it is. I never subscribed to any of these. Anytime we want to see anime or whatever, we have a good catalog of DVDs and Blu-rays to watch here, and anytime I do want to see something, we usually end up going and buying it. So hopefully, as long as they're still making DVDs and Blu-rays, and that stuff actually still hits the shelves, I'll be okay with what they're doing. It's not a big deal to me.
Like I said, it's kind of a big deal to me because we've had a lot of dubs be changed in translations. We got a lot of rogue translators, if you will, adding modern politics into things that never belonged. So hopefully this doesn't affect Crunchyroll too much, but we'll see. Any thoughts on this, Days?
I don't know. No, I don't. I'm not. I don't really know much about anime. I had never even heard of these two things until I was looking at them for the the topic. But I don't like the sound of that modern politics thing like that. Yeah, that's a red flag. Like, I can't stand that stuff. Like, it just takes me out of the experience of what I'm watching. I want to tune out. I don't want current year politics to just take me out of the fantasy. So yeah, that's the only thing I could comment on. Is that sounds
I think that's how most people feel.
Yeah, but some people must dig it because they keep doing it. I mean, I don't know. They things like that just alienate fan bases, I think.
Well, some people have no choice. I don't speak Japanese, unfortunately. So if the only sub available is the one with the
Read
changes to it,
subtitles.
yeah.
Yeah.
I prefer reading subtitles. Like it's just better.
Well,
Like you get the full context.
they've been changing the subtitles too, blended.
They literally
I'm just
change
saying in
them.
general.
Wow.
Yeah, well, because
I
the translators are translating certain things into instead of translating them directly, because they feel like certain jokes don't land or they don't uh, they have a cultural significance
Yeah,
that we might
barrier.
miss.
oh
Yep.
gosh.
So they change things, and some of those things have been very political. They're changing, and that's both in the dub and the sub. Um,
See, and that's why I enjoyed One Piece. Um, the I never cared for the dub. I watched back in the day when you could watch those episodes. You were able to watch them on the YouTubes before that all got shut down. But yeah, I enjoyed it much more. My old lady enjoys it with the dub. She can't, she's always on her either going back and forth between her phone and watching the show. So she doesn't like to really keep up with the sub, but I don't mind either way as long as the voices are done good. Um, but there are those exceptions like One Piece. One Piece I loved just the way it was. So I can understand both ways, but either way, this is not really going to affect me. I'm not going to probably use the service, and then anything I really want to watch, we already have anyway. So
I'll give you an example of dialogue being changed. This is from Prison School, and this is the original Japanese translated directly into English. It says, "You keep talking to me like we're on equal terms, but I'm a second year. You have to address a superior more politely. Shut up." That's the translation from the original Japanese to English. Here is what was put into the episode. Whoa, cut the brakes, Arthur Franzarelli. You got to stick up your ass, or are you one of those dumbass Gamergate creep shows?
What? Oh my
yeah,
god,
yeah. See,
dude. No,
that's
I'm
That's
out.
funny.
I'm out. That is so awful.
yeah, that is awful.
I
Who is
think
who?
it's
You
more
know who?
funny. It's like,
Who's
where
the
did that come from?
like who becomes the arbiter of truth here? Like who's the one that gets to make the decisions on what is acceptable and what people want to hear? Like
But
God, what a
and see, the
ugh.
problem is to me, you're losing the what was intended. And I think that's
Yeah,
what Tony's talking about here is like that might be a slightly funny, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like taking, uh, the Mona Lisa and then just scribbling a smiley face on it and being like, "Hey, look, it's still the Mona Lisa, it's just a little altered." No, it's a
y-
lot altered, It's like,
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, if
yeah.
that was the original joke, then that's fine. Like, whatever. Like, yeah, it could be funny, but it's like, why change it like that? And why insert things like Gamergate? Like that just immediately alienates a lot of people that would just be, oh, okay, we're gonna go that direction with it. Ugh,
yeah, you're altering
that's
the original intention of the dialogue. You're changing art
yeah,
that they don't own. It's not their art; it's someone else's art, and they're taking it upon themselves to quote unquote improve it or change it. And I think that's a slap in the face of the original creators of the show.
I mean, I could totally understand if you have to censor it a bit, but you try to stick as close to the material as possible. That's understandable. But when you're blatantly changing it like that, yeah, I'm not all for that because, like you said,
yeah,
Tony, that was someone's, blood, sweat, and tears went into that, that project and what they intended it to be, and that story and that, the dialogue and all of that. It should carry through when it arrives here. So I agree with you on that one.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, so be wary of this big uh, merger, if you will, of Crunchyroll and Funimation because the original Funimation people are still uh, being employed. Uh, they will be now part of Crunchyroll. But that's all I got to say about that. We got something more important to talk about. Pokemon Day 2022. So there was a huge announcement of a new series of Pokemon games. A Pokemon Scarlet, Pokemon Violet are now set to come out later this year in a shock. The game actually looks like Legends Arceus, in my opinion. It looks like a modern day uh, Legends Arceus
Well,
Pokemon.
we don't really know to what extent though, because their messaging and has been that it seems like it's more open world than Arceus. Because I mean, for those that don't haven't played Legends Arceus, that game isn't really open world. Like I would say, it's more like in line with like Monster Hunter or what's another game? Like you're kind of like in segments, and then you kind of can explore whatever, but like you still gotta have to like travel through like a quest log or someone telling you, hey, you got to go back to the village, and then you got to pick where you want to go, and it's a little confusing. So it's not like a complete open world where you're free to go anywhere and do whatever. You're still very much restricted. While I feel like this game, Scarlet and Violet, could potentially be more open world where you're free to do whatever, which would be more interesting because I mean, like the main Pokemon games have kind of like dungeons or puzzles or little mini things that were missing from Legends. And obviously there's gym battles in the Elite Four. So I think all of that in an open world setting would be, I mean, it would be compelling. Like I would definitely would love to see it. But I also think it's kind of soon for this game. Like that's like the video that I wanted to make with Gary was, is this too soon, right? Like we just got Legends. That was just, a sort of improvement, and now we're getting this game already. It's like, could you like, slow down? We just got like, Diamond and Pearl remake just a couple months ago too. So it's like, I don't know. This is a lot. I'm excited, but at the same time, I don't want to be burnt out.
And here, basically, my take on it is, like he said, Legend Arceus was basically like you're talking about zones. I still haven't played it, but it was basically broken up into zones, correct?
Yeah. That I didn't explain it properly, but yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
So from my understanding, the way they've kind of worded it on their website, I'm understanding that this is going to be almost kind of like a 50-50. It's going to be the best of both worlds. This kind of does prove that, Legends Arceus was not a mainline. I know a lot of people wanted to see it as a mainline game. Maybe in the sense of like the story, yeah, it's connected in a sense. But this is our true mainline Gen 9 game. And for the most part, I do believe this is going to be more open world. I don't think you're going to be sectioned off into zones. How they're going to pull this off, I'm not quite sure. Obviously, from the early teaser, it is looking a little rough. Not that that was ever a really big problem, in my opinion, as long as the gameplay's there. I really do hope that this focuses on, I've said it multiple times. I've said it in a lot of comment sections. I've said, I really hope that this sticks to the traditional side while throwing elements of Legends Arceus. The open world is not going to be bad. The fact that there's not going to be any random encounters, as long as they balance it where there are no, I don't really want to see, boss fights in the game like there were in Legends Arceus. I don't want to be chucking like food at the Pokemon. I don't think
I didn't like that aspect of the game,
right,
especially the later bosses.
Right. I don't feel like that's a good fit. I really want to see them kind of go back to, a standard 4 moves, gym battles or trainer battles and gym battles, kind of exploring. I don't know really how they're going to handle, if this is an open world, I'm not sure how they're going to handle like a leveling up system. Maybe everything just kind of, works with you and you can do anything in any order. I think there will be some structure to it. But overall, it does look like a fun region. A lot of people are excited that it's going to be set in Spain. This could be, if they do it right, this very well could be one of the best Pokemon games. I will say that, even not being a huge fan of what, Legends Arceus looks like, and it's the reason why I haven't gotten it yet. But I think if they do this right, the starters look fantastic. I think out of all the gens, these are close to rivaling the original three, at least for me. I think a lot of people are going to be moving with the Grass Cat. I like all three. I could go either way depending on what their evolutions are. And if by all means they can shatter the gameplay mechanics that they've done in the past, where they've never really followed a set. They always kind of introduce new mechanics, right? We had mega evolutions back in the day. They introduced Dynamaxing and stuff like that. Being that Kalos, which was Pokemon X and Pokemon Y, if that region is actually set right above this new gen, so I'm really crossing my fingers and hoping that by some miracle that Mega Evolutions can come back into this game. I know a lot of fans always hope, wishful thinking on that, but I really do see this being set up as one of the best Pokemon games. But as Blinded said, I think it is a little too early. I think this was something they needed to wait on next hardware, and not even like pushing it back. I don't think pushing it back a year would have made much of a difference. I really think they should have waited for this, because while I do think this is the future of Pokemon, I really think they should have waited until they had a hardware boost, because the game really in the teaser trailer just shows that it's
the frame rate was bad.
The frame rate was bad. You had muddy textures, you have low textures. So I'm really I'm worried about it. I'm worried, and especially that it's coming out the end of this year. It's going to be a miracle to pull this one off.
Yeah.
You don't think people are going to like the Donald Trump looking duck?
I'm going with that.
I didn't even make the connection. That's awesome.
Yeah, that hair.
He does have the Trump comb over.
That's hilarious.
But I will say that it all depends on how they handle this game. That's really what it boils down to. It's all how they handle it. It could be really good, or if they go the Legends Arceus route and they focus more on that than they do traditional, it'll be a game that I skip. It might be the end of Pokemon for me.
I can understand why they did this though, because Legends Arceus, it's like once you beat the game, there's not much else. Like once you beat the Pokedex and catch everything, you're kind of like, what is there to do? And that game was not focused on battling whatsoever. Like you rarely battle people in the game. Like there's battles, but it's not like a constant thing, right? So it's like I can understand why they're like, hey, we better put this out this year just to like hold over people. But at the same time, like I feel like if you're gonna do an open world, you would kind of have to reinvent the battle system, because that was like one of the things that I had an issue with Legends Arceus. Like after I beat it, got to the credits and everything, and put like 100 hours into it, it's like, yeah, the battling system needs a revamp, because it just doesn't compare to everything else, like the catching mechanic and running around and interacting with the Pokemon. You're like, how do you update the battle system while keeping it intact? It's very hard, because like most games that were turn-based combat, they were kind of easy to translate, right? Like you could kind of see, like Fallout, the way that they did it, or like Final Fantasy, it kind of makes sense, right? Where it's like, well, yeah, they have weapons and stuff, but with Pokemon, they have all these different moves, and a lot of the moves aren't offensive, they're defensive, or they're special attacks. So it's like, how do you translate that into, real-time combat, and how does that look? So that's kind of like my main concern, because like I feel like they're just going to give us Legend Arceus with, no zones, but it's also going to be like gatekeeped, right? Where you're like, you can explore some areas, but at the same time, it's going to be harder because there's harder Pokemon, and you still need to beat a gym in one area. So it's like, I'm excited. I'm probably going to pre-order it, but like, I'm always skeptical about any sort of Pokemon game that comes out. Like, I was skeptical about Legends Arceus, right? And I still love the game. Like, I still ended up liking the game, but yeah, like, they need a really, I don't know. Like, I was hoping for Black and White remake, like next year or something. I think that would have been better, just because they've been hinting at it very hard in Legends Arceus. Like, that game has so many references to the Black and White games Unova, so it's like, you should have just done that and held off on Gen 9. So it's like, but it is what it is. Money, I guess. So
I mean, the way I really see it though is that these games were developed like they were making Gen 9, and it seems to me like they were like, hey, let's get a group of guys together, let's throw some other assets on it. Let's throw a different couple mechanics on it, and boom, we can sell that as a game. It's almost what it feels like, because it had this come out maybe in 2023. I would say, okay, yeah, this was being developed for the sole reason just to release Gen 9. But the fact that this is coming out literally in the same year that Legends Arceus came out, it feels too similar. You know what I mean? It feels like, they were working on Gen 9 and they just kind of, spun something out to make a little bit of money. And unfortunately, that's what we're getting with Game Freak anymore, is just, it's become a numbers game. They know they can make the money, and, they'll spit out what they can.
I would have preferred, if they were going to do Gen 9, could you at least do another Unova game where it's like, just like the whole Pokedex is new Pokemon? You know what I mean? Like, why are we, again, like, a lot of the Pokemon that were in that trailer were in Legends Arceus, right? So it's like, are you serious? Like, you know what I mean? It's not that fresh. So,
That's Game Freak for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sad.
I want to see a Dynasty Warriors Pokemon crossover.
Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. No,
Pokemon Warriors.
Please stop with these Dynasty Warrior games. I'm sorry.
I'm sure they'll do that. I'm sure they'll do that eventually. I mean, if you think about it, Legends Arceus is kind of close to that, but you'd actually have to play as a
combat.
Pokemon. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean So
you play as the Pokemon with different moves.
You say that, and it's gonna happen, because it's totally something that they're gonna do.
I mean, they've already crossed over with the Romance of the Three Kingdoms games, and that, what is that? Pokemon.
Yeah, they have Fire Emblem and Zelda, and what's the other franchise?
No, but Pokemon's crossed over with.
Are you talking about Pokemon Conquest?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And they've done the Etrian games, like dungeon crawlers. So
that game came out a long time ago. That was on the DS. Holy shit.
Yeah. And then they had that one that they did the blue and red remakes for Switch, but
that was another thing I was expecting. I was expecting Let's Go, the Johto games. Like, that would have made sense. Yeah. Not this.
And the problem is they've kind of been everywhere. It was kind of unpredictable, but I had an inkling that, like, they were going to do they were at least going to tease it. I told you guys before, Pokemon Day, that they were going to release a teaser of Gen 9, and I thought maybe they would port over to Detective Pikachu. And at first I was kind of like, is this, which one is this? Is this going to be Pikachu, or is this going to be, Gen 9? But that was my feeling, was that they were going to tease Gen 9. I just had no idea that it was going to come out at the end of this year. I think that piece of news blew me away more than anything else that I seen in that trailer.
Yeah, same.
Speaking of the rest of that Pokemon Day 2022, Legends Arceus, whatever, they actually got a software update. It's going to add more trainer battles or something.
Alpha Pokemon, kind of like hordes and stuff. I didn't get to try it just because I put 100 hours and I'm like, I need a break from the game.
Now, is that something you're like? I'm hoping that they kind of take alpha Pokemon out. Like, I hope we just get like a more traditional standard, Pokemon experience with 9. Or
I
do you
am
think that's
curious
something
about
that
that.
they?
I don't know. It'd be really interesting if they did. Just because, like, I mean, like the alpha Pokemon's kind of made it more action oriented because you were kind of like dodging them and stuff like that. Like, I'm really curious to see what exactly they take away from Legends Arceus or Arceus. So I don't
I mean,
know.
if at the end of the day you can like sneak around in tall grass and you can stalk Pokemon and then maybe craft a few items here and there, because I think the crafting system could work. Maybe if it's not too in depth. Maybe if you're just kind of, because like from what I understand, like Spain region is like heavy in like the food side. So I could
Hmm.
totally see like crafting meals for Pokemon, and they've always kind of had that in the game. You did the
Well, craft.
dolphins and other stuff.
I could definitely see that because there is crafting in Legends Arceus, right? Like to make the Pokeball, you got
Right,
to craft it and stuff like that. And there are
right.
food that you got to craft too. So I could see that.
As
That would
long
make
as they keep
sense.
as long as they keep that on like the light side, and then they kind of bring more of that traditional feel, because I just believe that like it's a traditional game. It should stay to that standard. It should be more traditional than on the Legends Arceus side. I think at the end of the day, if they keep we got an open expansive world, because that's basically what Legends Arceus was. It might not be
Hmm.
a free to roam open world, but in essence it was a vast open world over traditional Pokemon games. If they can keep
Yeah.
that, if they can keep the sneaking aspect, if they can keep minor aspects of crafting, and then kind of all roll it into one while giving us, gym experiences, trainers here and there, a lot of items, a decent, new set of Pokemon. And if they can really focus in on and make the Pokemon designs really well, I think they do have something special here. Now, the graphics aren't going to be something special. We understand that, right? We're going to, a game that's on aging hardware, and it just is what it is. But I think if they can nail those other things, I think they got something special here.
But you know what this also means? They're delaying Breath of the Wild. Okay, that's my prediction. That's my
I'm
record it,
50-50.
keep it.
I'm 50-50, and here's why. Like, what date, when would they delay it to, though? Like, why would you not have that come out? Like, I think they're going to push this for the first time. I think Nintendo's really going to try to see something. They're going to try to see if they can milk both franchises at the same time.
I
This
don't
could
know.
be a
I don't
this
know.
could be a first. It doesn't make any sense. It really didn't, right? To have something like Zelda be expected at the end of this year, and then to drop Pokemon, which is obviously
Hmm.
the bigger seller. You're going to take focus away from that game. But I think people are, you know, um, anticipating Breath of the Wild 2 so much that I don't think they'll care. I think Nintendo's really going to try this as an
I,
experiment to see if they can release both of these at the same time and still have big numbers for both of them.
I feel like if it was coming out this year, they would have shown us something in that direct. Like it just feels like they're like waiting. They're like, ah, crap, we promised them 2022, but it's like, it's more like 2023. You know what I mean?
I
That's
mean,
what it
I mean,
feels like.
I mean, I could definitely see that. I agree. They should have had something by now. The only thing that's weird is if they decide to release this in a year from now, like it just March, April release kind of seems weird to me. But hey, look at Legends Arceus came out in what, the end of January or whatever, and it
Yeah.
sold really well. So who knows? Who knows? I
Yeah.
think a lot of people are going to be pissed if it doesn't come out this year, though.
Yeah. Additionally, they're going to have a new anime based on Legends Arceus, uh, based in the Hisui, whatever the hell region.
Yeah. Hisui.
Hisui. Uh, Also, there was an update for Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl.
Yeah, that was a little way too late.
I forget what What was the? Oh, they're releasing. That's
Shaman.
right. Shaman. That's right. So you're going to be able to visit. They're going to give you the card or whatever ticket. You can go and visit Professor Oak, and that'll allow you to catch Shaman. So that's pretty cool. I mean, that's something.
You can already catch Shaman in Legends pretty easily too. So I just thought it was weird.
Yeah, apparently Shaman is the gratitude Pokemon and is able to change into its sky form using the Gracidia item in Pokemon.
Yeah, he looks like a bush.
Yeah.
It's the bush Pokemon. No, a shrub.
Yeah, a dog and a shrub. That's how I always saw it.
Yeah, I was never, keen on the legendaries. The legendaries always were like, at least the event legendaries. These are always been ones that have, for people who are not familiar with Pokemon, they always have locked these like 10 or so Pokemon that you couldn't get other than an event. So it's nice to see that they're kind of available in this day and age. Back in the day when you had, a Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, you had to go to Toys R Us to get all these, on the Pokemon Day back in the day.
True.
You had to
I
go,
remember that.
You had to go to stores and stuff to acquire these. But it's nice to see that they're, with technology now and the fact that they can do the mystery gifts. I mean, even when they had, the DS, they didn't like releasing those. You still had to go to the store. But it's nice to see that Pokemon, Game Freak's at least releasing these. You don't have to leave your house. You can, turn on the internet and get all this stuff. So, I mean, that's cool in that sense.
Yeah, and apparently Pokemon Go is getting additional Aloha region Pokemon. Pokemon Masters EX is getting some extra stuff. And Pokemon Cafe Remix is also getting some bonus stuff.
I know that
Pokemon Unite too.
Unite had, I believe, they were getting Hoopa, and I don't know if they were getting anybody else, but I do remember them, them releasing Hoopa for that. So that's kind of cool. I played a little bit of Unite, and I was a big League of Legends fan, years back. So I played the game. The little guy plays the game all the time. He just mashes the buttons, but he loves playing it. He thinks he's always kicking people's butts, but it's a good game. But unfortunately, that game was broken. So
yeah, rip Pokemon Sleep. Who knows if that's gonna happen?
All right, I think that's
enough.
That's it for Pokemon.
I think Dazed fell asleep over there.
He's dead. He's
all I know about Pokemon is what it does to my wallet every time my son wants Pokemon cards.
Oh my god!
You don't like them Pokemon?
Pokemon was one of those things. I was in high school when Pokemon
You're a little too old for it.
Little too old. I'll tell you what, I've developed an appreciation for it over the years, especially like playing Smash. But yeah, no, it's cool. My son is into it, so yeah. I just don't know anything about it.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna move on to the Batman.
Here we go.
Yes, Batman.
So it currently has an 85% on the Rotten Tomatoes critics score, 91% on the audience score.
Not bad.
Grail, you're the only one who has seen the movie. Do you think this is an accurate reflection of the quality of the movie?
I would say so. Like if you're going just like on impressions, yeah. Like the movie is extremely well done. Like for a comic book movie, I think it'll probably be one of those movies that people study the influence behind it, like in terms of like the filmmaking and the choices, the creative choices. And I saw it in IMAX. I kind of was disappointed by like the IMAX screening. Like the aspect ratio was kind of shit. Something about the picture quality just wasn't good. Like it just wasn't up to my taste. It was like, why does this like look so chromatic? I don't know if it was like the color grading or the lens that they used. I don't know what it was, but it would just threw me off. I mean, those are all technicals. I know like people don't care about that, but like the movie is extremely good. Like it is a phenomenal movie, but my issue is like the writing is kind of like someone needed to polish the script on this. You know what I mean? Like someone needed to go back and be like, there's a lot of exposition at the ending. Like they just drop a ton of information, and you're like, you probably should have just like gone back and inserted those, tidbits of information throughout the movie to stay consistent. I don't know if we would get into spoilers. Can we talk about spoilers? I guess. Like, do people care? Or?
I think we want to keep this a little spoiler free. You can go spoiler
Yeah.
in a separate video.
I do have a
Okay,
question though. Is this how first of all, I got actually two questions. How was his performance as Batman? And the second is, I mean, are they setting this up for like kind of like a trilogy, 3 movies, or
Yeah.
what are they setting this up for?
There's no post-credit scene, but there is a tease for something. Obviously, I'm not going to get into spoilers. But I will. His performance, I think, is probably like the one takeaway where like people are going to be. If you watch this, you'll be very impressed. Like I was never in doubt by Robert Pattinson. Like he's a great actor. Like I've watched him. I know a lot of people always talk about Twilight, but it's like he's been in other movies that are extremely good. Like I always say Good Time is like one of my favorite movies by him. The Lighthouse, High Life, those are like very recent movies. Obviously those are kind of art house, but
he was the kid who died in Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. Yeah. He in my opinion, like he has, like he's not go. Sorry. Were you going to say something, Tony?
I was going to ask you. Yeah, I was going to ask you, was Ryan Kindle's review accurate as far as there was too many people in the movie?
I don't even know what he was talking about. It's like it's just like, yeah, Jim Gordon is obviously race bent, but at the same time, like Jeffrey Wright is a great actor. Like he kind of fits the role of Jim Gordon, but he's also kind of playing it up like more of a noir type of character, like like something you would see in like I'm trying to think of like The Third Man. Like those are like old noir movies. Like he has his voice. Like there's one thing about this movie. Everybody sounds really weird in this movie. Like I think that's like the one thing I don't like about Robert Pattinson's Batman is his voice just seems off. It seems like he's usually the same. No, it's not even that. He's using the same voice even as Bruce Wayne. It's like really weird. So you're like, he's just like lowering his voice as Batman, but then when he's Bruce Wayne, he's just like talking very monotone. So it's like, you should have worked on that. In my opinion, because like I'm a huge Batman fan, right? Like I love Batman. I consume everything Batman related. Like I would pick Batman over Spider-Man in terms of like my favorite comic book character, right? He's just a better character in my opinion. Like he's better written and everything, right? But here, like, how do I say this? Like, put it like here, he is more in line with what the comic is compared to like Michael Keaton or Christian Bale, and his performance here, like you could just tell that he did a better job. Like his eyes, like his eyes are really where the performance is. Like a lot of Batman actors, I feel like never understand how to like capture that intensity or that emotion. They're just always like intense 100% of the time. But here you could kind of feel like his emotion in it. Like, and I think the only Batman who was able to do that was Michael Keaton. Everybody else was kind of like one note, right? They were either like too silly or they were just too serious. And here he's very emotional. You could tell that he's very like distant and he's going through a lot of stuff, especially with him and Alfred, right? And so it's like he is the best part of the movie in my opinion. Like everybody else does like, well, I mean, there's also Penguin. Colin Farrell does like an amazing job. Like his performance, he's a great actor because he's just like a extremely good character actor. But he blends into Penguin, and you're like, I can't even tell that's Colin Farrell. It's very weird. But anyway, everybody else I feel like was kind of standard. Like they do a good job. Like Zoe Kravitz is kind of Zoe Kravitz. Like she does a good job, but it's not like Robert Pattinson blew it out of the water. Like he was a completely, like he became the character, which I think that's what people want to hear, right? But again, that really depends on how you view Batman, right? Like I'm a Batman fan. Like I've read the comics, I play the games.
You
I
had
you
the
know
you said
Batman shampoo.
so you
yeah,
said it.
Batman
You said it
shampoo and
was.
everything.
So you
You got
said
the
it was like.
conditioner, Gordon.
Yeah, I got the Conditioner Gordon,
Conditioner Gordon. Oh my God.
That's a good one,
bat
Tony. That's
soap.
a good one. So
That's a
you
good
said
one.
it's
Yeah.
like the Take-Two games, right? So it leans a little bit heavier on the detective side of Batman.
Well, I said it was like the Telltale's game. This is something that
Oh, Telltale. Oh, okay.
I've not seen anybody say
That's
this
what.
because the Telltale's games weren't popular. I know that for a fact. But if you played both of those the two seasons, like it's pretty much almost identical to that. Like I'm kind of shocked how like no one came out of the movie and was like, hey, that's exactly like the Telltale's game. Like the character relationship where Catwoman and Batman leaves off is exactly like the first season. What else? Him and Alfred, and they get into a conflict, and then something obviously happens to Alfred. What else is there? The Riddler was like a Jigsaw kind of character. Obviously, in this movie, they made him more like the Zodiac, and that's also something I wanna. I know I'm like jumping all over the place, but like I really love true crime. Like it's just something that I do on the side. I just like looking up cases and like So to borrow inspiration, because they take from another case too, just like a little moment. I forget this woman. There's a documentary on her called "The Evil Genius," and she kind of like trapped the bomb on a guy. And there's a situation that's kind of similar to that case. But anyway, the Zodiac killer aspect of it was actually pretty clever. Like to have the Riddler be like the Zodiac killer. I mean, he's not entirely like the Zodiac killer. He is very much like playing a character like Batman. Like he's in the mask, he's like very serious and he's playing all these mind games, but then he's also kind of childish, right? He's kind of like a man child. So, it's very similar to Batman. They kind of like are opposing each other a bit. But what other questions did you guys have since we're not getting into spoilers?
Who's a better Riddler?
I was going to ask you about the Riddler's performance, but you answered it. So I
Yeah,
was just curious. I always liked the Riddler.
he's not totally like the Riddler. Like he's not camp. You know what I mean? Like it's a different take on the character, right? So
Right.
if you play the Telltale's game, he's kind of similar, but that version of the character is also campy, right? It's
So
just
you're
the
saying,
Jigsaw aspect.
This is a better Riddler than Jim Carrey.
I mean, I don't like Batman Forever. Like personally, it's just not my thing. Like
I mean that's a really zany
yeah,
and the way
It's
you look
too
at most
zany.
and that was the most eccentric I think like Riddler out there. I mean even the who's the actor that played in the original Batman?
Frank Ocean.
Yeah, I mean when you look at his role, I mean that's what I always envision with the Riddler. It's good to see him kind of like take a different. I feel like this is almost like Bane again, right? Where like Bane had like it was like it's a different take on him while kind of keeping the core character
elements of the
there.
Character,
right?
Yeah,
right.
it's a modernization of the character. That's what they did,
right?
Yeah. It is light on action. But like this movie's obviously that's another thing too is this movie if you watch a lot of David Fincher movies like if you've seen Seven and Zodiac and it's very much like those. It even kind of looks like Fight Club in my opinion. Like there's a lot of abandoned buildings that they're in during scenes and it has that kind of grungy kind of aesthetic to it. And it fits the character because it's like a merging of like everything Batman. Like his mask even looks like the Adam West version, right? Like the nose and the eyebrows, but it's very subtle, right? So it still fits in line with the tone of the movie. But like if you're a Batman fan and you compare the two, you're like, oh, that's Adam West's mask, right? That they're clearly trying to reference. But and like the mystery, in my opinion, is the weakest part of the movie. Like you will. Like if you are involved with the movie, you'll pick it up quickly, but because it's very confusing, Like I said, there's just a bunch of information that's dumped at the ending of the movie, which I think is a lot of people's issue, right? Um, you'll pick up on who's involved in the mystery and who's the target that they're trying to find. Like it's all very easy to figure out. Um, so when I came out of the movie, I was kind of like, I don't know, it feels a little derivative, but at the same time, like if you're talking about Batman movies, then yeah, like this is not something that we usually get. It's very different. It's very out there. But like I'm just going off of like, hey, I watched crime movies and all these true crime cases and all this Batman comics that I read, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of a merging of all those things, and I kind of wish that there was something new, right? Like every Batman has their kind of different stamp on them, at least for the movies, and I feel like this one was kind of stuff that we like in the last 10 years. This is pretty much everything Batman combined. That's the way that I see it. So
I mean that's what the feel I get from it was kind of like the Bale's Batman. It kind of seems like they went with that kind of grittiness, and almost like they did kind of like rolled up with like Gotham and stuff like that.
yeah,
my big question is what time period, like how old is Bruce Wayne supposed to be in this movie? Is it supposed to be like
I think he's probably like Batman? He's a younger Batman. Like he's only year 2. Like in this movie, this is clearly him trying to figure out how like Gotham views him and how he views himself. Like that's his character arc in the movie. And so he is, and that was another thing that I didn't like about the movie is I understand that he's an amateur Batman. He's not good at his job, but it kind of took away from elements from the movie. Like there's a really fantastic scene. Like the ramp up to the scene is like you get goosebumps. And then they kind of it's not a joke, but the beat of it, like the way it was edited, it came across like a joke, and it ruined the the atmosphere and what they were building up. Like this whole sequence is still great, but that like I would have as an editor just cut that out. It's like we get he's an amateur, but like let him have his moment where he's a badass. You know what I mean? Just cut this like 2-second. I know this is really crazy, but like just cut this like 2-second beat out of the movie, and it's like you have like a phenomenal scene that just shows how like badass this Batman is. And he is badass, but he still has his moments where he's kind of fumbling and he's kind of like, you know what I mean? Like he's gonna get decked in the face because he's not looking clearly or properly, right?
So that kind of leads me to the next question is, in the grand scheme of things, once these other movies, if they do make a few other movies, do you think this movie will probably get like age better with the sequels?
I think for one, well, one thing, there's a spoiler, so I can't really say. But like I said, if you play the Telltales game, I'm not going to say the character. If you play both of them, I have a feeling that's whatever this character, because he's in both of the games and he's in this movie. The way that they're going to build him up, like it would make this movie better too, and in some sense because it's going to be a long arc. But at the same time, it's like the games did that. I can't mention the character because it's like
so without mentioning the character, can you just say is he good? Is he a good character?
I mean that's yet to be seen. I think the casting is good, but we'll have to see.
Okay.
Because it's very brief. It's a very brief moment, and I know a lot of people are confused, but
that
character.
I have an idea of who they'll most likely. Is he's a character that's been gaining steam in recent years?
No, this is I can't say, like I'm not gonna say it. It's just like that giveaway. I think we gotta know who the character is.
All right, so
man, I wish I had seen this movie. This sounds good.
Yeah, it is extremely good. You'll probably enjoy it.
I was looking at the pictures of Colin Farrell as a penguin. Like you can't even freaking tell it's him.
Yeah, and there's a sequence with him, the fighting sequence. It's like very early in the movie. That is an amazing scene. I love that scene. Like to me, this is one of, like I would say, like Logan is one of my favorite comic book movies, and this would be like second and third because I love Guardians of the Galaxy. That's like those are great. I put there. Yeah, so Yeah, it's a great movie. Go watch it. Highly recommend it. I have issues with it, but like it'll probably grow on me. Like I want to watch it again. So
And we will get a full spoiler review from Blinded later
yeah.
on this week, hopefully tomorrow. But we're going to move on to the Steam Deck and its drift issues. So right away, as soon as people got their Steam Deck, there was people talking about having drift issues with the analog sticks. However, Valve has said that it's not a hardware issue; it was a software issue. It's a dead zone calibration issue, and they introduced a firmware patch to fix it.
Yeah, and that's good news because I found out by watching Rich's stream or little episode that he had about it, and I was it was a head scratcher, right? Because these people just got their consoles. I couldn't believe that drifting would be an issue so early. So it's good to hear that it was just a bug and that it's been patched. As I've said before, there's going to be a lot of hurdles for Valve to get these kinks worked out, but it's Valve, right? I mean, they got the money, they got the time. Eventually these things will be all squashed, and I think a lot of people who have these pre-ordered or who already have these and they're enjoying some content, I think give them some time, give them about a year, and I think within a year's time this thing's going to be running silky smooth with a lot of content on it, and for the price range, you just can't beat it. So it's good to hear that it was just a easy fix.
Yeah, and the patch has been set out, and people have applied it already and are reporting that it is fixing the issue. Though they're saying that the fine inputs are now less possible. So,
Oh wow. I mean, that's just like, when you get early adopters into any of these things, I mean, you're going to have problems at the beginning until they get it fixed out. So,
right. And it sounds like I said, it sounds like something that, there could be a revision to it down the road. So, these are hurdles for a company that's, this is their first venture into it. So you got to expect these things. Nothing's perfect. The Switch is not perfect by any means. Joy-Cons have their issues. Everything has its issues. PlayStation 5s aren't perfect. Xboxes aren't perfect. So, as long as it's not too bad.
Nothing's perfect except for the Amico. That is perfect. Do any of you gentlemen have a Steam Deck on pre-order?
I do not.
I want to get one, but probably later.
I have one on pre-order, but I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it. With the new PC that came in, I don't think I need a Steam Deck anymore.
Yeah, you definitely don't need a Steam Deck.
Now was that for you got the base model, right, Tony? Was that 400 like you had to pay that, or is that just they take a small deposit out until it ships, or how did that work with Valve?
If I remember correctly, I put a small deposit. It wasn't the whole 300 or whatever.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so I'm thinking I'm going to cancel my Steam Deck. I don't really game on the go. I'm not going to be taking this to work. I don't live in the greatest of neighborhood where I could just, sit in the park with a Steam Deck and not expect to get robbed.
Yeah, this Steam Deck thing always, like, I would just play it in my bed. Like, that's really what I wanted to do with it. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. It just kind of seems like, who is this really for?
Yeah,
like,
well,
I never really understood.
Like,
yeah.
I mean,
because I know. Oh, yeah.
There are going to be a lot of people who do that. I don't really take my Switch on the go. I've since I've had.
Same.
I mean, most of my handhelds I've never really taken on the go. I just don't ever really want to like take it out or lose a game, drop it.
Exactly.
So I usually play my handhelds at home, which I think there's a lot of people who do the same thing. It seems like a lot to it always seemed like a lot. Like this is something that's like, extravagant and to be like on the go with something like this. And it's bulky. It's pretty big. But I mean, I guess there's people who are going to do both. That really never like, would stop me from buying this. I just think this is just something that's not for me. Like Tony said, I have a computer that can probably play, games all the way up till maybe 2018, 2019, maybe some current stuff on lower settings because my PC is aging. But at this point, yeah, someone like Tony doesn't need to, especially if he just got a new desktop. I don't think it's really, necessary to have something like this.
And they're also
have
saying
that cutting edge tech, then it's worth it.
they're also saying that this is I know Gabe Newell, he's going around saying, oh, we're going to make this like the iPhone. It's probably going to come out like every year. There's going to be an update. And it's like,
Oh gosh.
it is the same thing you guys did with the Steam machine. And it's like, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm always skeptical of when Valve comes out and pushes like hardware because it just kind of doesn't go anywhere. Like, look at what happened with their controller and obviously like I said, the Steam machine. And I know like I have like friends who are like, he's like big on the Switch, but he's like, oh man, this is going to be a game changer. And I'm like, come on, dude, this is just, you know what I mean?
Here's the thing. If they do small revisions to it and they do along the lines of Nintendo, they'll be okay. But like you said, if they go the route they've gone in the past, this could be it for them. I mean, if they mishandle this, nobody will probably, because this is $400 territory, right? That's for the base model. This gets up to what, like $700, $800?
Yeah.
So I mean, a misstep here could really hurt Valve in the hardware and in this area in the field. So I really think they're going to handle this one with care, because if they don't, they're going to have a lot of upset fans with this, because I can't see them doing, like you said, like every year and try to milk people. They've already made missteps in the past, so this is not where they want to, make another misstep.
It's $399 for the base model, $529 for the 256 gigabyte model, $649 for the 512 gigabyte model. I would not be bringing no $650 device around with me.
No, not at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Not even close. No.
If I worked in an office, but even then, because unless I'm driving back and forth, if I was commuting on a subway or a bus or something, I'm not taking this out and playing with it in the middle of a fucking subway.
And what I don't understand is
no.
like at that high price point, why not just get like a PC? I mean, you can stream on a PC, you can do all this other stuff. And
that's the thing though, because they're saying that this is not just for, like, this is for people who already have a PC, right? Because it's like, hey, here's all your Steam library and you can play it on the go, right? That's kind of the pitch that they were selling it. And to me, it's like, I don't think that there's a large enough, like, that's super niche. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think there's a lot of PC gamers like that.
And here's the problem, though. I mean, like, those people have their rigs, and those are the type you're talking to the master race. I mean, these are guys that like to play their games at, ultra settings, and I just don't see that. Like, I understand you want to try to sell that, but those are the guys you're going after. And at the end of the day, having that library, I understand that, having those, hundreds and thousands of games at your fingertips on the go, that's nice and everything, but are they willing to take that, that hit? And the screen is not the best of screens, and you're going to have to sacrifice something. And at that price, I mean, that could be, well, it's like what, half of what one of their graphics card costs. So at the highest price point, they're paying quite a bit for their parts if you have that top tier PC built. But I don't see it. I think this is really intended for people to have an alternative to the Switch. I know there's other devices that are about $800 to $1,000 on the market, and maybe you're going after that crowd. But I don't know. I just see the guys that are really going to want to play those PC games at ultra settings. I just don't see why they would dip their toes into this one right here. But I guess we'll see. Only time will tell.
Ninja Kitty
Yeah.
says you live in the ghetto, Tony.
I do live in a modern major city. I'm not taking even if I lived in a good neighborhood. I'm not trusting myself with a
One
$650
drop,
device.
you drop it. I mean, dang.
And it's only for one use. That's the thing. You're only gaming on it. You know what I mean? So it's
Well, you
like,
could stream on it. You could stream.
yeah, but it's not like I'm out here and I could edit on Photoshop and I could put up all these different things. Yeah, you could probably put Windows on it, but it's like, why would you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's not something everybody's gonna do. It's gonna be like something that like a couple people mess around with and put Linux and Windows on it. But it's like that's not the purpose of it. You know what I mean? So
Now, to me, is anybody else like the design of this thing? The analog sticks to me look too big. Maybe that's just
It does look
because
big.
maybe that's just because I've been playing the Switch a lot, and those are a little bit lower profile. They feel more like an actual, or at least they look. Obviously, I haven't played it, so I don't know what they feel like. But they look like more like a kind of like an Xbox 360 analog. But it looks too big for that. And there's just something about the Steam that just looks a bit bulky to me. Cumbersome, I guess.
it looks huge. It looks huge. Like I don't know if it would. Of course, I mean, like holding it. I don't know how it's gonna. Like I feel like I could get a cramp. Like I hate holding the Switch for a long time. So and that's like super light, and I know it's not totally ergonomic like the Steam Deck, but I don't know. I'm just skeptical of Valve in general. When they put out something, it's like I have to see because it could be super successful or it could just be a massive flop. That's where they are at this point.
And I think you hit the nail on the head right there. Is because I don't even play my Switch that often with the Joy-Cons connected in handheld mode. I usually separate them, and once you separate them, you get more of your hand wrapped around that controller, and it feels a little bit better. Because you don't get the best when your hands are on it. You don't get like the best button presses when it comes to like, at least for me, anyways.
Right.
On like shoulder buttons.
Yeah.
So when you take those off,
Switch like that.
Yeah, I always have it like resting on my chest or my stomach, and then I'm playing it that way, kind of laying down. But yeah, I could see how your hands could definitely cramp after a good session of, especially playing something like what's the racing game that they got running on there? The popular one, is it Gran Turismo or is it can't remember whatever the most popular one is, but I can only imagine that would be uncomfortable to play for long sessions.
Yeah.
Forza.
Right. So moving on from the Steam Deck drift issues, we're going to talk about Kirby and the Forgotten Land to wrap up the show. Have any of you gentlemen played the demo?
Yes.
What are your thoughts? I played a little bit of the demo myself. What are your thoughts?
I beat the demo. It was very good. For general thoughts.
I didn't beat the demo. I did play the first two areas. Although the little one has beaten the demo. And I will tell you this right now. This is very kid-friendly at his age. And he was loving it. He hasn't put it down since I downloaded it for him the other day, since it came out. And it's fantastic. I didn't expect... I thought the whole car thing was kind of dumb, how he just kind of like sucks it in and then he kind of just like wrapped over the car. But it was fantastic. Actually, the car handles very nice in the game. I like it as long as these levels are laid out the way that the demo levels were laid out. It was surprisingly like late. It was just good like level design. I mean, it was I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. And I think if there are a lot of levels in this game and they stay to the caliber of what I played in the demo, I think the graphics were fantastic. I thought the scenery looked good. The level layout was good. The fact that you haven't played a fully 3D Kirby in such a long time that it's a treat. It really is. And I love my 2D Kirby. But there was something special about this, and I agree with Blinded when this could be the sleeper hit this year. I think it really could be.
Yeah, this game was
Yeah.
not really on my radar at all, and I watched the a trailer for it today, and I'm gonna get the demo and play it tomorrow. But it looks amazing. Like I was really impressed, like seeing Kirby in 3D.
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
and
It
it's
is really good. Like I especially love the power ups in this game. Like I mean, so far, right?
yeah,
Like just like the how it moves and how it controls and stuff. And I did like the boss battle. Like I thought the boss battle was really fun. And like to me, I really think I'm gonna like this more than Mario Odyssey. Like I feel like Mario
maybe,
Odyssey was
yeah.
just it was
I
kind of
was
too samey. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I
Like
was not. I hate to say it, but I was not. I am not like, and I love Mario, but
yeah.
I never even finished Mario Odyssey. I kind of just was like, it's okay. But yeah, this looks like it looks good. That's
Now,
all I can say.
Yeah.
the big surprise to me was it was either like the first or second, maybe the second level where you get into kind of a battle with like 4 or 5 different enemies. You kind of trap you
Hmm.
in the dome. I don't know if any of you kind of encountered it, but you can do like this dodge side, just kind of like what Link does, kind of sort of
Oh
in
yeah,
like a
The
Ocarina of
parry.
Time. Yeah, well,
exactly. Like
yeah,
that Z target and
yeah,
kind of flip around and
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah.
while doing that, I dodged an enemy and it kind of went into this like slow motion mode.
oh wow,
Um, I don't
Hmm.
know if you guys experienced that through the
I
demo.
didn't.
Like
I
so
didn't know.
if you time your dodge just right, just before the enemy hits you, it'll actually like go into this slow down mode, and it kind of allowed me to pull off like a slide, and
Hmm.
I thought it was the most fantastic thing ever. Like
that's cool.
I wasn't
It sounds like
expecting that.
Breath of the Wild, because Breath of the Wild had something like that. It's like a
Right, and
perfect dodge.
yeah, and I don't know if that was because I was the sword handler or whatever. That might have been part of it, but
Maybe it could
the
be.
Yeah.
yeah, the fact that I wasn't expecting it. The fact that he dodged it and it kind of went in slow motion, I thought, and I didn't see that in any trailer, at least that I remember. That was just it caught me by surprise, and I really do think that this is going to be a big. I think people are excited because it's in 3D, right? That's what people
Hmm.
want. They kind of want the series to move forward. And while I'm not huge on the 3D stuff, this one took me by surprise. I'm really excited to get my hands on the full retail copy.
Yeah, I like. There's a lot of interesting stuff in the game, like the achievement system of collecting, and there's gonna be a lot of collectible stuff in it, which is kind of similar to what Mario Odyssey was doing, and you can get costumes and stuff like that. But the one thing that is also interesting to me is the upgrading of the power ups. Like that, I want to
Yes.
see like how that's gonna like turn out in the gameplay, because like I'm kind of hoping that the game ramps up, and also too, I like that they have a difficulty mode. Like that was also
Yeah.
something that stood out to me because you get more coins and it's a little bit harder. I didn't have too much of a hard time playing it. It's still Kirby, right? So um but I think they're doing a lot of interesting stuff. And on top of that too, it's like I can understand why people want a 3D Kirby game, you know what I mean? It's just like we've gotten so many 2D Kirby games over the last 15
It's
years.
time.
Yeah, it's like it's time. It's like it's same thing with Donkey Kong. It's like can you give us another one? I know Rare's not gonna make it, but like, can you still at least try? You know what I mean? Just to see what you could do. That's all I want is just experimentation with some of these IPs. So I already have this pre-order, and I'm gonna play the hell out of it when it comes out.
And it has a co-op mode, which
Yes.
apparently no games have that nowadays, like a local co-op. But
No, I didn't get to play I didn't get to play the co-op blinded, but is this kind of similar to what they had on the Star Allies?
I didn't play it either. I was figuring it was like kind of akin to um like Mario Odyssey a little bit, but you're just playing as a character, not
Probably
with
as
the
like a
cap.
Waddle Dee or something like that, or a
Yeah,
Bandana
yeah.
D, or
Trying to like help the character who's Kirby. That's kind of like
right.
the impression that I got. Yeah.
yeah, and having the difficulty mode, I think is cool because Kirby always it started out as a game that was meant for like little kids that were not good at games. Like that's what it started out with, the fact that you can literally fly like through the entire level, and then you can get the powers and you power up, and I like the fact that would do a difficulty setting like that, because then you can have the little kids can enjoy it, and then if dad wants to play it, he can ramp up the difficulty a little bit. That's a great idea.
Now it's been a while since I've played Crystal Shards, and I don't really recall how it controlled. But I kind of starting out, I kind of wanted to do a couple things that were like 2D-ish, if that makes any sense. I was kind of trying to figure out how do I dash with Kirby, and there are parts where I feel like the flying, they kind of like limit you on how high you can kind of go until you get to the right moment to where you can kind of further kind of elevate with his like loft ability. Other than that, I think it translated really well though to 3D, because it is one of those things, right, where you're in a 2D space. Kirby controls a lot different than he does in a 3D space, but I think for the most part they handled it really well.
Yeah, I've been playing it. I like the demo. I've never been a big Kirby fan, but I think I might become one now, thanks to this new game.
Nice.
Any final thoughts on this before we wrap up this show, gentlemen?
No, I'm excited for this game, and I don't really get too excited over modern games as much anymore. And it's like usually money that I have to spend on games usually go to retro games, but this is definitely one I'm going to pick up.
Yeah, I'd say it's this year for Nintendo is a
mind blowing.
It is especially if Breath of the Wild 2 comes out this year. There's no better time than to hop in and get yourself a Switch. I know a lot of people kill me for saying that, because the big dogs, the PlayStation and the Xbox are just so powerful. But when you got good lineups like Kirby and Zelda, Pokemon, and the list goes on and on, Splatoon, and all those other games, it's hard not to go with something like the Switch.
It feels
so much
fresh.
Software.
That's why
the gameplay is what it is. It doesn't matter if it's not powerful. It's like Nintendo is great at just making fun games.
Yeah, and I think PlayStation and Xbox this year. I mean, Starfield is obviously, I'm excited for that, but like PlayStation, I feel like they need to announce something. Like you know what I mean? Like Horizon and God of War just seems too samey. Like we need something different.
Well, I think next year will be the year of like the big dogs, right? I think Nintendo's really expending everything they have this year, so it's going to be, I don't know how they can top this year. There's a lot of great games coming out, so I really do think that next year will be that the year of PlayStation and Xbox. So.
Yeah, all right. So that is it for the show, gentlemen. Thank you all for listening to Gabbing with Geeks. Remember, you can catch us live on YouTube every Saturday, 7:05 Central Standard Time. Or if you want to wait till Sunday, you can get the podcast at anchor.fm/Gabbing with Geeks. All episodes will be there, the entire thing. And if you can't wait for that, if you want to just see them sliced up, Blinded Braille does an excellent job of editing our videos, throwing on some fancy little thumbnails, and letting them out through the week. So, you got many options to see what you just heard if you were here live. If not, oh well. And as always, we will see you at the after show. Love, peace, booty grease. We out this.